Welcome back, everybody. So it's been a while, but we thought we'd give the boys another chance this week. So last time we did a typical man movie, a man classic was Tombstone, and that was a huge failure for us. That was a
Oh,
so bad.
awful.
But I was like, you know what? We can't throw them all in the dumpster, so let's see what other classic top of a man's list movie is there. And it was fucking Goodfellas. And I was like, I've heard nothing but amazing things about Goodfellas my entire fucking life. And I've never watched this movie.
I didn't
So
either. B was
let's watch
so
it.
concerned when I was like, when he realized I'd never seen it, he was like, no. And I was like, no. It missed me completely. So sorry. It's one of your favorites.
Yeah. So I it did live up to the hype for me. It was very good. So
That was good. It's a gangster movie. Like at
absolutely.
this point, I've seen other gangster movies, and I know that they're all like inspired by this gangster movie, and I see the connections now. I get the jokes and all of the things. I get it,
Yeah.
but it's just not my cup of tea. I would I would I would rather read Kindle Unlimited mafia things than watch real people do mafia things. So
I do.
sorry.
I think I have to agree with that. While I did really enjoy this movie and I did think it deserved the hype. It was
Mhm.
very well done.
Mhm.
Scorsese, great job.
Yeah, and Ray
It's still
Liotta.
not my
Oh,
genre. Oh yeah. Ray, can we just say Ray
sir.
Liotta, like I always knew that he it's almost like this movie cursed him into that role. Like he
Yeah.
became typecast after this role.
Mhm.
But in this movie itself, so Ray Liotta growing up was always the tough guy they toss into movies, you know? He was
Mhm.
going to play the
Mhm.
guy that would beat up everybody.
Yeah.
But after watching this movie, I was like, his character is so much more complex than just some mafia meathead
Yeah.
that he
100%.
ends up getting typecasted. He played this part so well. Like,
Right.
uh, so well. I was like, it's it's almost a shame what happened that he almost became a caricature or
Right.
did. He
Of
really
this
did
movie.
become a
Yeah.
caricature of this movie pretty much for the rest of his acting career, which is great. He had a very long one, but this he did an amazing job and he was a great actor in this. Like,
Yeah. And I've
um,
never once looked at that man in anything, which is most likely because I mean, I was born in 91. So like
yeah,
this by the time I was actually watching like grown-up movies, he that was him, right?
yeah,
I I've never looked at that man and been like, yeah, all right, he's attractive. Until I was watching this movie and I was like, what the fuck is happening to me? Is this middle age? Is this what happens? Is this what happens?
there is. We're gonna come across it because I know I put it in my notes, but there's one scene where he gets in Karen's face like real hard, where I was like, oh, like, oh my, Ray Liotta, like, which is probably a whole nother psyche we have to go down. But I was definitely like, I never saw it. I see it now. Young Ray could have got it.
Yeah, I don't even think it was just his face. It's like his
No,
mannerisms
it was his
and
whole
stuff.
demeanor in this movie
Yeah. I was like,
is,
damn. Yeah, I
yeah,
would have gone down too. I would have put a gun to his head too.
right,
In a pure fucking jealous right.
right.
That would have been me.
Ooh, sorry.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so coming in, oh, I liked the title credits because they had them coming by as like cars, and even
Yeah,
had the
that
car
was
sound
neat.
happening where it was like,
Yeah, that was neat. Well, we talked about this before, how much I hate title credits because they're also fucking boring.
oh yeah,
This
and
is
so
how you
long.
make them not boring.
Yeah.
You make them do things. Like you
Well,
put
and
it in
this
the
was the
environment.
yeah, and this was that start of the time because I didn't write it down, but I want to say this movie came out in 90.
I think so,
But
yeah.
this was the start of where you started getting these shorter intro credits or the intro credits that were very busy and the fancy words were happening and stuff. Because because I'm sure people have for decades had complained about the fucking intro credits. So, and then it comes into three men in a car, and something's happening. You hear this like banging, and you're like, and it's Ray Liotta, uh, oh my God, Robert De Niro. I almost said Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
I was like, not Danny DeVito.
That's not
Robert De Niro and
right.
Joe Pesci in the back
Right.
seat. And they're like, oh, did a tire go flat or something? And they pull over, and you're like, did a tire go flat? What's
Yeah, did they
happening?
hit something? They hit
And
an
they
animal?
look exhausted. They look just shoveled and exhausted. And they pull over, and it's somebody beating on the trunk. And you're like, oh, we're coming in hot. We're coming in hot. The dead body's alive in the trunk. So they open that up, and that's when
And no, it's so funny because when they open it, and I don't remember who says it, but someone says, "Oh shit!" Like he says something like, "Ah, he's still alive!"
yeah,
Like,
yeah, like fuck, he's still alive. And then Pesci starts stabbing, De Niro's hitting with a bat, and I'm gonna just call him old Blue Eyes because I've already forgotten his name. He's just kind of standing back and watching, but
yeah,
it's his voice that starts narrating about how uh, he grew up in the city watching these guys. He always wanted to be a made man. He grew up watching these guys doing whatever they wanted whenever they wanted, had the best cars, the best suits. Um, and we're looking at a time, I want to say they look like they're in the 40s, like the 1940s. Like,
hmm
uh, and he's a kid just watching out the window of and watching the gangsters down at
the
the
wise
store.
guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the wise guys. And they he's kind of introducing them too. Uh and we get some more credits. And then so that's when he introduces Paul, Paulie,
hmm
and
He introduces like 5 Pollies, like,
yeah. And I will
and
say that
Peters.
is the downfall of this movie, and we're going over this movie. Some of you guys are going to be like, you're not doing it justice because I can't remember these fuckers' names, okay? There's too many fucking of the very similar names, so I'm going to do my best. But so we meet a Paul and a Tuddy, his
hmm
brother Tuddy, who is there to kind of be like the doorman and stuff. They run the show, and then he talks about how he has an Irish father who's a hard worker and wants him to be a hard worker. Um, so he ends up getting a job with the guys across the street. And so his father's like, cool, you got a job. Good job. And his mom just sees that they're Italian. And I guess so she's Sicilian. So she's like, yeah, fuck yeah, work with the Italians. But pretty soon they
Yeah, I
realize,
think he said one of them is from the same area as Sicily that she's from. So
yeah,
she initially was like, "Hell yeah!"
yeah. So I want to say Paul or Paulie is the head guy or
hmm
the, uh,
Dawn.
yeah, figure. And then his brother Tuddy. So he starts working for them. But I do find it funny how like your kid knew it was the mafia, but you guys didn't know it was the mafia because
Yeah,
it's the
hello.
parents, right? Like I was like, how did you not know that? That right across the street. But pretty soon they show a scene of like him getting beat by his dad because the bad grades came in, and
Well,
he's
no,
like,
he
no
didn't go to
son of mine.
school. He didn't go to school. He didn't go to school
Yeah,
for like a month. He was just out there working with the wise guys.
yeah,
And
he
his
was
dad
living his
asked him,
dream.
yeah, his
Yeah,
dad asked him, was like, "How was school?" And he was like, "Oh, it's great." And he was like, "Really? Because I just got this letter in the mail that says that you haven't been in school for a fucking month." And just
yeah.
starts wailing on this kid, just belt full, just
Belt.
fucking
I was getting flashbacks.
wailing.
I was like, oh God, not the belt.
The
And then
sound.
so then he goes over across the street to Tootie, and he's like, I can't work for you guys no more. My dad says I can't work for y'all. And he's like, oh, really? Because you're going to work for us. So they go down to, and I was like, oh shit, they're going to kill his dad.
That's
But
what I thought
no.
too. I thought they were looking for his
Oh, I thought
dad.
for sure. I was like, man, you just got your dad killed. Fuck.
Right?
No.
Oh my god.
They got more creative. They went to the post office, and they were like, you delivered to this address? And he's like, yeah. And they like beat the shit out of him, and they're like, letters don't make it to this house ever again. Do you
Yeah, anything
understand
from the
me?
school. Anything
Nothing
from the
from the school.
school doesn't make it.
And the narration is like, we just didn't get letters at all because he was so afraid to come to our house. My mom had to complain to the post office. um,
Oh
so then he goes into he was able he's like, so he has a job, so he's parking their cars, he's running the books, not running the books, but like guys will talk to him, be like, hey, go tell Paulie it's 2K on this
He was a
game, and he
messenger. Yeah.
runs off and tells them that stuff. And
Right.
then he talks about how Paulie won't have a phone in his house, so people have to like run through payphones for him or different businesses, get the phone call, run to his house, tell him the message, run back to a payphone, call the person back, agree, disagree, whatever it may be. And I was like,
Yeah. Well, it's
it
not even the
very
phones.
smart, Paul, but
Yeah.
also fuck that, man.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
so
running your messages
inconvenient.
like that. I'm gonna at least need you to get the payphone to be like right at the corner of your house.
Yeah, that's so
Like,
inconvenient. But then it wasn't even just like the phone calls. You couldn't talk to this man at all. There were like three
yeah,
people that could talk to him, and like you had to talk to those people. Like you couldn't get a seat with him anyway. He wouldn't talk business with anybody at
no,
any point. He wasn't saying shit. And I was
yeah,
like, "All right, yeah, I can that's that's
that's
probably the way
fucking,
to do it."
oh,
Like,
absolutely. Absolutely. Especially in a time, I'd even say it'd be more important these days. If you could actually get the fuck off the radio like that, where people can't even say, I heard him say that, you can't hear me say shit because I don't even speak in public.
yeah,
So,
prove it in court.
exactly.
Prove it
Like,
in
he
court,
was he was doing it right. You could see why he was the leader.
right?
So, and he was explaining like why the mafia was needed. He was saying how they're like the cops for wise guys, cause for people who can't go to the police because they're doing shady shit, you have the mafia for protection to
Right.
protect your business and stuff. Now, what's gonna come with that protection is like extortion and shit. And
I mean, you know what
um,
you signed up for. Like, I don't,
yeah,
I feel like I should be more empathetic to people who get in situations like that. Even, I mean, even now, like,
yeah,
you're not going to convince me that there aren't fucking extortion rings
huh,
happening all the
yeah,
time. Not even just with
absolutely,
the police, because the police are doing it too, but just situations like this. You know what you're going into. My empathy ends when you understand what you're getting, not when you're forced into it, not when you're
yeah,
coerced into it, but if you go into it fully knowing
yeah. You
this
walked
is
into
what's gonna
their shop,
happen.
yeah, which
It's
is
like
gonna happen.
people that go into debt to those like cash checking places, those like
Yep,
super quick loan, like $200-300 loan, the super quick ones, and they have like a 30% interest rate, and then people get like I understand you're in dire straits and you probably don't have many options, but at the same time, bro, there are different avenues for you to go to before
yeah,
you get to that one.
yeah,
So yeah, my sympathy kind of dwindles a little bit. And this is coming from someone who used to be very, very poor and had to do a lot of shit to be able to put food in my kid's mouth. I get it. But at the
yeah.
same time, bro, don't. Just don't.
Don't do it. Just
Just
you'd be
don't.
better off. Like,
You are
you
better off.
think life is hard at your rock bottom, but you go to those places, no, they
There's a
just
whole new
dug you to
level.
hell. Like, that's
Whole new level of
just
rock
stay at
bottom.
the rock bottom you're at because they're not going to
Yeah.
lift you
Don't
in
keep
any way.
digging.
They
Why you
can't,
keep digging?
exactly.
Put the
They
shovel down.
exactly. They can't help you. They're not a ladder. They're a shovel. So you got to put it down. Don't do it.
Right.
So oh, I put a square. I can't be trusted with technology, man.
Put a
Okay.
square.
Yeah, somehow my notes are messed up now. I think I moved the bottom of my
Hit the
notes to
back.
the middle of my notes and then
Oh,
somehow
and
put a
it got
thing in
all.
it.
It's okay.
Ah, shit. Okay. Da, 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 da. Okay, then they show him that he's now upgrading into arson. He's getting some arson jobs, blowing up some cars. Um, a guy is shot in the street. He tries to help him, and Tuddy's like, "Nah, in my fucking shop. Keep it fucking moving," and told him to like toughen up and shit. And but you are sitting there like, yeah, you want to have empathy and stuff, but dude, you can't bring the cops here. So that
Yeah, like
guy needs to
idiot.
go die in the street
Use your
because you
fucking
can't bring the
brain.
cops to my place. We can't
Yeah,
talk. Like, yeah,
use your fucking brain. The last thing that you need is blood all over this floor in particular. Excuse me.
yeah. So now we time hop it, and Jimmy. Oh no, we meet Jimmy. We've already time hopped. if you guys haven't realized. Ray Liotta's character is now an adult. And he's now introducing us to Jimmy, De Niro's character. He's 28. Me personally, I was like, ugh, that
I
man
don't
does
think that
not look
man.
28 in this movie.
It's like
He looks like
that
he's
man.
38.
That man hasn't looked a day under 40
No.
in like 60 years.
Yeah. Sorry, Robert. I can't. I'm not saying you didn't look
It's not
good.
bad.
No, you
It's
weren't
just
bad, but you were not pulling 28 off. And now I do want to Google how, if he was really 28, I'm going to be fucking shocked. That was a question I should have asked. Let's see.
when was he born?
I don't know. Robert De Niro. Uh,
All right. So right now he's 79. He was born in
yeah.
43. This movie came out in 1990. Yeah, he was 47.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah, wasn't pulling off
Mm-mm.
28 at all. He was pulling off his age. Like I said, he looked good, but yeah, that was crazy that they actually tried to pull off 28. Just change the man's age.
Yeah,
Uh,
it'll be all right. It's not real.
right.
Okay.
So he's introducing, his name is Jimmy the Gent, and they're calling him this because he tips everybody big. He has a wad of cash. He's friends with everybody, and he is a hitman and a thief for the crew. And then they showed like he also has cops on the payroll. Um, and he's stealing cigarettes and stuff out of trucks and then reselling on the street. So he's showing like how that whole racket works. And he ends up getting pinched. Like he's selling outside of a factory, and like the managers come out and they're like, he's trying to run. Jimmy does get away. And I was like, oh shit, he got pinched. And then he gets he gets off. Like he goes to court and stuff, and Jimmy's like, "You
Yeah,
get caught, kid." So I take that back. He's not an adult yet. He's still a kid,
he's like
like
a teenager.
17. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a
He's young.
teenager.
So he's still the younger character, and Jimmy's like, "You did it, kid. You didn't talk. That's rule number fucking one. You never fucking snitch." Gave him a big wad of cash, and they head out. Um, and they have a pinch party because he kept his mouth shut. Then it time hops where he's an adult sitting. Oh, and we also met at the pinch party is where we met Pesci's character, and I
Yeah.
forgot his name fucking now.
Is it
But
Polly something?
no, was
No,
he
it's
also
not.
no, he's not
No,
Polly.
he's not Polly.
But he's loud, and you're already like, and there he is. So you just see him real quick at the party. And he
Mhm.
talks about how he comes from a family, um, and that's why he's so young there. And
Right.
then so they now time hop, I think it said 4 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And they're sitting on the back of the car, and a truck pulls up, and he's talking about how living near the airport was the best thing ever because they're able just to steal these trucks and rob the airport constantly. And they do. The guy gets out of the truck to go buy some coffee, and they just hop in the truck and drive away. And I'm like, wow, what a time to be alive, damn it. Like, I can't
You know,
lie.
the funny thing is B tells me all the time, anytime we drive past like an Amazon truck that's like stopped to deliver their package, he looks at me all the time and he goes, "We should steal it." And I'm like I know you're not being serious, but also fuck no.
Yeah, you just couldn't get away with it now. Even if
Yeah.
you're like quick enough to get away, have a vehicle somewhere else to just offload the stuff and then drive even further away, there's just cameras everywhere. Like,
Yeah, they're gonna find you.
yeah, there's just you'd have to be real fucking meticulous about it to get out of the way of camera, make sure your getaway cars nowhere near cameras, or
And how do you
you.
even know? And then it's a
Yeah,
50-50 chance you get anything good or you just get a bunch of fucking
exactly.
clothes or something. Like, nah, that ain't worth the risk.
Yeah, not worth it.
Back then,
And then
apparently,
of
you could just hop
course,
into anything and just get the fuck
right?
off.
There was all of 5 cops anyways. And they were all dirty. All the cops were
Yep,
just as
every
dirty
single
as
one of
the
them.
fucking criminals. So
Now
it
they're
was
just dirty in a different way. Back then they were dirty and it like benefited some
yeah.
people. Now they're just dirty and it benefits no one except for the 1%. So like
Yeah.
fucking class
So
traitors.
we do also need to put a trigger warning on this movie. They they stay true to the time frame of these guys are racist. Yep.
Oh my
They're
god, so racist.
super racist. They drop
Ugh.
that N word like it's nothing, and so many other things. But don't worry, they keep it equal because they're also dropping the Jews and they're dropping like uh. But I mean, I do got historically accurate. Uh, the mafia was all
Yeah.
about being fucking Italian. The Irish were lucky they even got spoken to or allowed to congregate, but they couldn't move up in those ranks, which he also explains in this movie. And so yeah, a very racist organization. Absolutely. So you're gonna hear your N words in here, and they do drop it. Um, they so then it goes. They're at a bar, and a guy's like, "Hey, I want to say his name's Harry, the main
Something
character.
like that.
Henry
No,
or Harry?
I'll
I think
find
it's
out.
Henry." And he's like, "Hey, something's coming from France. It is gonna be so much hit of a century. I'm the security guard. I can look the other way. This will cover my debt. Here you go." Right?
Hmm.
So then so then he's like, "Great, thanks. We'll think about it." Pretty much like, I don't know, him and Jimmy are talking about it. So then they're at a table and they're talking to Joe Pesci's character and he's telling a story and everybody's laughing with him. And I was like, first of all, Ray Liotta's laugh face is insane. Like,
Yeah, he looks like a demon or
oh
something. Like
my
it's just
God. He's just like,
like
ha!
his full ah.
Like, it is extreme.
This is so much.
But this is where you get the very
Like calm
famous.
down a little bit.
Yeah, this is where you get the very, very famous. So Ray Liotta's laughing like a demon because Pesci just told the funniest fucking story of his life. And he goes, "Man, you're so funny." And this is the very famous, "How am I funny? Who who are you calling funny? Funny like what? Funny like a clown? Funny? How am I funny? Tell me how I'm funny." And he's like, "Whoa, bro. I mean, you're just like funny." And then he's like, "Ah, I gotcha, I gotcha." And he's like, "Ah, you fucker." And but
I
you're
can't.
immediately, this guy is the hothead. Like he has something to prove. He has little man syndrome. Like he just, I was like, "You're gonna ruin everything in this movie, aren't you? Is that
That
what's
is
gonna
so
happen?"
stressful to me. People that are like that, that that is so it gives me like PTSD symptoms.
Yeah,
Like it triggers me when people pull shit like that because I literally cannot understand that you're making a joke. Like
yeah.
I think that I really royally fucked up and now you're mad at me and I want to like run away. Like I cannot like when when we went on our trip, B's mom and her husband bought the hotel room for us for his birthday,
Yeah.
and we went downstairs to meet them for dinner. And I told her husband, and his mama was like, "Thank you for the hotel room. Like that was really kind of you. You didn't have to do that." And her husband looks me dead in the face, and he was like, "What are you talking about?"
Oh,
Just total straight face, total like. And I'm like, did he not know? Like, what happened? I was so confused. And then he just started laughing and he was like, "No, you're welcome." And I'm like, it makes me literally want to
yeah.
rip my heart out of my chest and tear my skin off. Like, while I was watching it, B came upstairs, like right after that scene, and I was like, I would literally never open my mouth around that man
No,
because I would be so scared.
no.
So scared. And I'm not afraid of conflict.
Yeah,
But that's terrifying to me. Please don't do that. That
yeah.
is not funny. It's not quirky. It's just terrifying.
Hate it. Hate it.
Hate
All right.
it.
So, right after this little anger outburst, oh, which Pesci's character is Tommy. So you have Henry is Leota,
Mhm.
Jimmy or James is De Niro,
Robert.
Pesci's
Hmm.
Tommy.
Hmm.
So Tommy, the waiter, the manager comes over. The waiter's standing back because he's like, "I don't want to ask them for money. I'm not giving them the fucking check." So the manager comes over. He's like, "Hey, Tommy." And Tommy's like, "Hey." And he's like, "I need you to pay." He's like, "Just put it on my tab." And I'm like, and the manager's like, "You owe me 2 grand already. So I just need something tonight." Sending Tommy into excuse the fuck out of me. you're embarrassing me. And I was like, oh, you're
Total
dead.
fit of rage.
So fucking
Total
dead.
immediate fit of rage.
Oh, done. He's done. So, he ends up throwing a bottle. Yeah, I'm like, oh shit. He ends up throwing a bottle at them, tossing the manager around, and then the waiter's still standing there after Tommy's like pitched a bitch fit. And he chucks a bottle at the waiter also. And I'm just like, oh shit. So then the next scene is the restaurant owner. And this is where I was like, what the fuck, dude? It's kind of dumb. The restaurant owner, in wanting protection from Tommy, goes to Paulie, the Don,
Mm-hmm.
saying, I need your help. I need you to protect me. And the Don's pretty much like, why would I do that? I have no skin in this game. He's like, well, that's what I'm saying. Put some skin in the game. Be a owner, a partial owner of my restaurant, and the people, your men will respect my place more because it's your restaurant and Tommy can't kill me. So please fucking buy my restaurant. And
Mm-hmm.
so the Don's like, or Paulie's like, all right, cool, I'll do it. Great. So then you get not a montage, kind of a montage, but where they're showing the restaurant and
Mm-hmm.
Henry is voiceovering about how when we own something, it's a fucking tool. So they're gonna launder the fuck out of this place. They're gonna bring
Mm-hmm.
things through the front, sell it out the back, and pretty much run this place into the ground so they can't use it anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
then he's gonna set it on fire because he's the arsonist.
Right.
So, and collect the insurance money, and your business is now fucking gone. And I was just like, that was really dumb of you, dude. I mean, I like know you don't want Tommy to like beat your ass, but like, I would have just personally been like, just never gonna see that money. That's cool. And
Yeah, you just
like,
write it off at that point. Just write
yeah,
it off, leave it
just
alone.
write it
It's
off.
not
Don't
worth.
let them burn your place down. How was that the solution? Like,
Yeah, but it kind of sets it up as the like this idea that they're always having to go behind Tommy and clean up his shit.
oh, I
It
forgot.
does set that
It
up.
does. It's the very first time, but okay, so when he's in the meeting with the Don, he's like, I need your help with Tommy. And he's like, what do you want me to do? Shoot him? And the guy was just like, well, if that's on the table, like you could tell, like he's so
Right.
afraid to even be talking to Polly. But
Right.
when Polly said that and said, he was like, well, actually, yes. Is that on the table? Because if we could just kill Tommy, and Polly just looked at him like, bitch, did you just
Right.
threaten one of my men? And he was like, my apologies. Could you just buy my place, pretty much, like,
Right.
which I thought was a hilarious moment. Um,
Yeah.
but terrible choice. So they got to blow it up now. And then that's the night they're blowing it up. Tommy, it looks at Henry, and he's like, come on a double date with me. There's this woman. I've been trying to get her in bed, but she is holding out on me, and we can't go on a date unless she has a friend with her. So you need to entertain the friend. And Henry's like, I gotta see Polly in the morning. I don't want to be a fucking part of this. And he's like, come on, you fucker, you owe me. We're besties. Do this for me. And he's like, fucking okay. And the place is like burning in the background, which I just love. I love the
Yes.
juxtaposition of them just having a guy's conversation, just having a guy's as they're burning a building in the background, and he's just like, "Oh shit," and
Every
like
day.
drives away.
Just every
So,
day.
right,
It's just a
like
normal occurrence.
exactly. So, the heist goes down. The one, and he ends up getting a half a mil off of it. So this kind of like jumps him up in the ranks. Everyone's very proud of him. They give their offering to Polly, and now he's like up there, and
Mm-hmm.
he's getting paid more, and more's being expected of him. And he was only 21 at this time, so it's kind of like, wow, moving up. So then it shows this Maury's wig guy on the TV, and I was like, and then they're like in his business, and
Well,
he's
it
like, you
shows a
owe me money.
commercial. It shows a
Yeah,
commercial for these Maury's wigs, and it's this man. He's like jumping into a pool with this toupee on, and like standing with these ladies, looking super sexy. And then he's got the wig. It's amazing. I love commercials like that.
yes,
They are so funny to me. I will watch them forever. And
yeah,
then all of a sudden we're in like his
his
fucking place of
business.
business, and Henry is
Jimmy.
talking to him. Well,
Oh
Henry is
yeah,
talking to him
Henry's
too,
the one
and
talking. Jimmy's watching the
yeah,
commercial. like
Right.
listening to them. And Henry's like,
Right.
you owe him money. You kind of need to pay
Please
him.
pay the money.
Yeah.
Please,
He's like, you
he's
need to
trying
pay.
his best to
Yeah. And the
convince
guy's
him
like,
to just willingly give over the money. Like,
yeah, the
please
guy's like,
don't
it's gonna
make
get
me
there.
do this.
Yeah.
Please don't make us do this. I don't want to do this tonight. Please just
Yeah.
give us the fucking money. And then De Niro just gets sick of the back and forth and just comes in and is like, I'm gonna fucking kill you if you
Yeah.
don't give me
Just fucking attacks
money.
him. And I was like, I don't know why. Like, because the Jimmy's character is very known for this. I was like, you knew the moment he walked in that door where you fucking stood. So I
Again,
really,
what
the fact you had the nerve to actually stand there and not think he was about to fucking kill you is amazing to me. But he
put
doesn't.
down the shovel.
Oh, we missed the date. How did I do that?
Oh, I thought it was the same night.
Yeah, so he brought up the double date. He agrees to go right after they blew up the restaurant. Uh, so him and the girl are not connecting at all. Like Tommy's
He's
talking to
being a
his
dick.
girl and they're
He's
giggling
being
and
an asshole.
oh yeah, he's just like, I don't want to be here. He's just like, can I get the check, dessert? And even in his voiceover, he's talking about how like they were ordering dinner, I was ordering a dessert. I had places to fucking be. He was thinking about business. He didn't, and the girl's like, obviously, like you don't give two shits. And it even shows him at the end like pushing her towards the door, like
Literally.
thanks for
And then it
fucking
starts
coming.
well, it starts the it just starts the over what's it called? The voiceover of her talking about the date as well.
Yeah,
And it was just talking about how big of a dick he was. He literally like physically pushed her out of the restaurant and got her in the car and then he drove her home and then pulled her physically out of the car and was just like, "All right, cool. I did my duty.
yeah,
God bless America. Bye." And she
yeah.
was like, "What a
I'm out.
fucking like I never wanted to see him again." Like he was the worst. He was just a total jackass the whole fucking time.
Yeah. So then in her voiceover, it cuts to her being like, I didn't want to see him again, but they asked me on a second date. So I said, fine. And this fucker didn't show up. So she's
Right.
crying on the second date. And she goes, I told Tommy, fucking take me to him. And I was like, okay, Karen. That's her name. Her name's Karen. And she walks up. She's like, you don't fucking stand my ass
On
up.
the
I was like,
street.
get
On the
it, Karen.
street. She
Fucking
gets out of the
tell him.
car on the
Oh, yeah.
street full of wise guys in front of everybody and just
Yeah.
starts laying into him. Just totally laying his ass
Yeah.
out. And then
And
he starts his voiceover and he's like, "Oh my god, this is the sexiest woman I've ever seen in my
oh
fucking
yeah.
life.
And you
Look at
saw
her
in his
eyes.
face,
She's so
immediately
mad."
turned on. He's
Yeah,
immediately
he's like,
turned on.
"She's
He's like, you don't talk to me this
insane.
way.
She's
I like it.
insane and I'm going to put my dick in that."
Yes.
It's exactly what happened
You're
in his
mine.
brain.
So he's
Yes.
immediately like, yeah,
Let me make it up to
let
you.
me make it up. And he starts taking her on extravagant dates and stuff. And he like takes her on the back and like this famous singer singing. And he actually like talks to Henry there. And she's kind of like, holy shit. Like he's giving everybody 20s. Like I'm at a rich restaurant. Panties dropping. The
Yeah, and
panties were dropping.
she even asked him, was like, "What do you do?" And he says, what does he say? He
He
says
said, I'm in
something like,
construction.
"I'm in
The
construction."
very
And
classic.
she's like, "You don't look like you're in construction." And he
Yeah, she says
was
your
like,
hands don't feel right for
right.
construction. And he was like, I'm in like acquisitions, like don't worry about it. And she's just kind of
Yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah,
So
she's just like, "Okay." And I'm
yeah,
like, at this point, I'm like, "All right, you know what's up.
yeah,
Whatever happens after this, it's all on you."
yeah.
Cuz you know
So
what's going
now we go to Wigman's. Wigman's being attacked, and Jimmy gets the call, which I was like, how'd they know to call him there? But hey, everything's connected. So he gets the call, he runs out, and it's Karen at a payphone, and she's crying and she's saying, he attacked me because earlier you had saw them like sitting at a pool and a man was like, hey Karen, and she's like, oh
Yeah,
yeah,
they
this
go
is
to
my neighbor.
she takes him to like a country club. Like
Yeah.
it's not him planning the date. She takes him to a country club and there's like this tennis guy that is like hitting on her without hitting on her and totally
Hmm.
ignoring Henry completely. So Henry's eyes are already on him of like, all right, I got to watch out for the guy across the street because I don't know, like you don't know what's gonna happen with this. So then
Yeah.
Karen calls him and she's freaking out and she's like, the guy, the my neighbor, I told him no, and he kept trying to force me, and like he had his hands all fucking over me, and immediately Henry's like, say no more, say
Oh
no more,
yeah.
I'm fucking coming, I'm coming. Don't hang up the phone
Oh yeah.
and do not
And like
fucking
left
move.
her at a park too. So tried to rape her, pushed her
Yep.
out of the car. She calls Henry. Henry picks her up, takes her home, and he's like, you go inside. He walks across the street and this motherfucker's just standing by his car.
Yeah, they're like washing. It's him and two other dudes. They're like washing a
Yeah.
car or something.
And he's like, and Henry took out a gun, right? Had it hiding in his pants. Like, so he
Right.
wasn't walking up with the gun. He hid it in his pants and he's walking up to the guy and guy's like, what the fuck you gotta say? And Henry just goes, bap, 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 like no
Pistol whip the
words.
shit out
Just
of
start
him.
beating just pistol whipping the fuck out of this dude, breaking his whole fucking face. He's like, touch her again, motherfucker, fucking do it. And
And
then
the
he
two
runs.
guys are just like, oh
They're all
no. They're
like,
just like
shit.
standing there. Like, I'm not in this.
Yeah. So then he runs across the street to Karen, hands her the bloody gun. Fucking hide that. Love you, babe. Pieces out. And then you hear her voiceover be like, in that moment, I'd never been handed a gun, but I fucking liked it.
Yeah. Like, okay. I can see. I can. I, would I have made the same decision? Probably, yeah.
Probably yes. Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
look, there's no high horse here. If
There's
my
no
man,
high horse.
especially younger Belinda, oh my god, if my man had beat the shit out of a dude for
You don't
attacking
even have
me,
to. You don't even
married.
have to. I just have to know that you would be willing to do that. Like in the back of my head at all times, I'm like, B knows how to box, and B's good at it.
Yeah.
B will knock the fuck out of anybody.
Yeah. That's where
Yes.
I'm a bit of a Neanderthal in that
Yes.
way. For my male counterparts, I need you to be able to beat up somebody. And I honestly, extra points if I fucking get to see you do it. Cause I don't know why, but
And
it's
you
there.
also,
I'm not saying it's not toxic.
well, part of it is I know myself, and I am real quick with it. I have to consciously not open my mouth. So I need to know that if I do open my mouth, even if I'm in the wrong and even if I maybe shouldn't have, you're still going to have to be behind me and you're going to have to be willing to pick up that slack
Very much so.
because I know myself and that is just the way I am. Am I going to work on it? No.
No.
That's just who I am. So I'm gonna need you behind me because I'll take on a bitch any day. I don't care what she looks like. If I get to a certain point, hello. Yeah. But if she got a man, I'm gonna need you to handle that one.
Yep. All right. So now they're getting married, and this can we just pause on the cake? I was like, this is the most 80s, 90s
oh god
fluffy cake I've ever seen. But it had stairs and it had little bridesmaids and the couple. Going up. I was like, wow, what a cake. That
hideous.
Was a hideous masterpiece. It was brilliant.
Oh god.
The art has grown greatly because that was, I mean, think about cake. That was when they put that in the movie, that was opulence. There were women in the audience going, there it is, girl. When I get married, I want
that's my cake.
Right?
That's my cake. I want stairs on my wedding cake. I want stairs and little people.
The tiniest little piece of top cake. A Barbie playhouse.
Royal icing. Just royal icing. Just all over the place.
Swirlies.
You got to put it under a fan because this shit's going to melt.
But that's what's so crazy because you just know it was. People were like, wow, they can afford that. Wow. Like, and we're just like, it's a fucking joke.
That is ugly. You could never catch me.
Right.
The memes that would, if somebody went to a wedding as a guest and saw a cake like that now. Oh my God. The amount of vitriol on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. So during the wedding, she is talking about, and she had like, she's half Jewish, or no, she's full Jewish, and she lied to her parents and said that he's half Jewish on his father's side, and like made him hide his cross and stuff.
And even when they get married at the wedding, he's got like they played it the whole fucking time. Oh yeah, the whole fucking time they
broke the glass.
Yeah,
it was a Jewish wedding, and because
this man is not Jewish.
No, he's Catholic. Obviously,
he's probably
Irish Catholic. Come on, he's Irish Catholic. So, which is crazy. So they're getting married. All the people are there, and she's voicing over how like meeting the family was intimidating, but they all made you feel so welcome, and they're handing them sacks of money. And she's like, "Oh shit, where's the money?" He's like, "You don't gotta worry about the money here, because like,
and nobody
pretty much being like, we're untouchable in this world."
ain't nobody gonna touch that
No,
money. You can leave
you're
it out on the
untouchable
table.
now. Like,
Yep.
yeah, you're a fucking princess. Like, don't even worry about it. Okay, so then, oh man, she was talking to something happened at the wedding, and it was like, what can you do? He's not Jewish. Like,
Yeah, somehow
uh,
it comes out. Somehow
yeah,
after the ceremony, somehow her parents realize that he's not fucking
it's like
Jewish.
this
I think
grandma
part
is
of it,
sitting at there, and she's, or was that the parent fight? Oh, yes. Okay. This is after the wedding. They're living with the parents, and her mom are arguing because the mom's
because
like,
he's
what
out
kind of
late.
man is out all night? Nobody that he needs to be calling. What's he doing? No good is up to. And she's like, Ma, shut up. He's
Yeah.
fine. Leave it alone.
Yeah, and the fun
And
no, but the
that's when
funniest
she
part,
goes, what can we expect? He's not Jewish.
well, the funniest part is mom said something like, "Your dad is home every night. Your dad, I know where he is at all times." And she goes, "Cause dad doesn't do anything. Dad doesn't do anything at all." And like she's like, she basically turns to her dad and is saying like, "Dad, make her leave
Yeah.
me alone." As she stomps out, and the dad literally is like sitting there with like a newspaper, and he's just like,
Said shit. Dad hasn't moved into his in none of this. But she goes, Daddy, tell her, and he like storms off, and she's like, don't pull your father into this. He can't digest his food.
he
Like,
hasn't digested his food properly in 6 weeks. And I'm like, well, you put the man's business out there like that. Why do you know so much?
well, you
That
know
sounds
what?
like a
I will say,
nightmare. I don't
as
want to
a wife,
know.
I do know. I know. I
I
would
don't
be
want to
able to
know that
say
much.
Jarrett hasn't pooped in like 3 weeks.
You need to
Like,
come to me and tell me. Well, part of it is we also have two different bathrooms. My bathroom is on the top floor. His bathroom is in the basement. And he very rarely does he poop in the middle floor on the little half bath. So like, no, you got to come to me. I'm not, that's a boundary. I'm not going to be responsible for knowing
well,
all
yeah,
of
but
that
who's to say
information.
the husband probably does? Because you especially one, it's expected as of us even today, but especially back then, you're talking 1950s housewife. She's making all the appointments. She's the one making him go to the doctor. She's the one making all his meals. She knows everything about that man's body because that man's a fucking toddler who doesn't get off the
Yeah,
couch unless
and
he's
I'm
going
telling
to
you, I'm not
work.
doing it. I'm not
Yeah.
doing it. I'm not doing it. If you do
Like,
have a problem, you can come to me
yeah,
and we can work out a solution. But I'm not going to be able to just recall off the top of my head that you haven't had a good poop in 6 weeks. You were out of your fucking mind.
right.
The moment I know that information, please just kill me. Just shoot me in the head. Get it over with.
We've gone too
I'm
far,
not.
damn it. Just
Too
divorce me
far.
at that point.
Too far.
So
Please.
Karen's now hanging out with the wives of the group, and she's having this moment of like realizing because they're having like a spa day at one of the girls' houses. People getting their face done, their nails done, and they're
Yeah,
all
it's all
bitching.
girl, the all wives and
Yeah, it's
girlfriends of
all the
like the
wives,
wise
and they're all
guys.
bitching about like how one went to prison. Oh, he's doing that. Like they're all just bitching, and she's like, I don't want that. I don't want to be that. I don't. And she's going to Henry and being like, I don't want this life. I don't want it.
Which
I
is
don't want that
like,
kind of marriage. And
girly pop.
cool it,
So
toots.
sorry,
Yeah.
girly, but you quite literally signed paperwork agreeing to this.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah. So he like sweet talks her and they end up like falling into bed together. I said not loving the N word here, so I'm not sure who got called the N word or why they brought it up, but they toss it into that conversation.
I don't even
And
remember.
then it jumps into oh, that's why, because she was saying, Julie's husband went to prison, and Henry was like, "Do you know why guys go to prison? Because N-words leave evidence." Like he said something like they leave the
Yeah, yeah,
cars
yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah.
like,
They aren't
"I'm not going to
organized.
prison because I
He
don't
said,
make
"I'm not."
mistakes." Pretty
Yeah,
much.
I'm
Like,
organized, is what he said.
yeah,
I'm organized. I
yeah,
I know what's going on. Which, if you tell me that,
yeah. I'm like,
you
okay,
shouldn't have to say that. Like that's not something that's like saying, "I'm a nice guy."
yeah,
No, you're not. Don't
yeah,
tell me that. No.
yeah.
But I'm also an all in or an all out person.
Oh,
So I
very much
couldn't
so.
do I couldn't do this halvesies shit. Like either you're telling me every detail of what's going on so that I can help you plan everything and make sure that we're straight, or you are
Yeah,
telling me absolutely nothing and I'm just the alibi forever and ever.
yeah,
None of this halvesies
yeah.
thing.
So then the cops come knocking on the door, and she's still kind of montaging.
Mhm.
But she's like, cops usually just came to get their handouts, and most women would spit on them, but I didn't see a reason to be rude to them. So she'd be like, "Do you guys want tea?" They go
Mhm.
walk around the house for a bit, get their handout, and then they'd leave. And then it shows like he's running out the house, and she's gets on her knees for him in the morning. I was like, "Okay, Karen,
Well, it's
keep
because
your man happy."
he was putting all of his money away, and she said, "I want to go shopping today," and he was like, "How much do you need?" And it's so funny because she goes like this,
Like this
like not
much.
an amount, like
Yeah, a
like
stack
this
this big.
much, this much, and then he got rewarded. Which,
Yeah,
if it's done in a healthy way, I support that.
I do. That was a very healthy marriage moment right there. I was like, get it. Okay.
Right?
Um, so then we're jumping, it's now 1970, and so they're all at a restaurant, and this other loudmouth wise guy is there. Um,
Hmm.
so you have Henry and Jimmy are at the restaurant, and they have another one of their friends. And then at the end of the bar is another guy, and they're
Hmm.
kind of, you could tell they're kind of like, ugh, he's so loud, and like he's grating on their nerves, but he's obviously higher up in the rankings, so like they
Hmm.
can't say shit. And then here comes Tommy, Mr. fucking Loudmouth, and they're like, fuck. So then the guy, he's like, oh, well, the high guy got out of jail, so like Tommy's like, oh, good to see ya. He's like, good to see you, and they kind of walk away from each other. And then the guy goes, Tommy used to be my shoe shiner. And started talking about, and Tommy sees this as like massive disrespect. And
It
he's
is. It's
like, well, it
disrespectful.
is. It absolutely is. So, but of course, Tommy is not fucking having that shit. So I want to say he kind of goes at like arguing verbally, like he's gonna hit them, but they all grab him and they kick him out. They're like,
Hmm.
because obviously you cannot hit this man. Like,
Hmm.
and Jimmy is like, hey, you were being a little bit rude, like kind of
Right.
stand up, but he's like, but hey, free drinks, shit happens. It's cool. Like, and so they all get drinks and kind of chills out. And then the next scene, he's coming back. He's like, hey, who had the tip for me or something like that? And then also they fucking jump this guy. And you're like, oh, it's the trunk scene. This is Trunk Man.
Yeah, it's
Um,
trunk guy.
yeah.
You
So,
got fucked up. Mm,
yep. And wrapped into a table. So they kill him, wrap him up in a tablecloth, chunk him into the trunk, and then we get that whole car scene, and they kind
and
of
they're very much
skip that part.
not happy. They're very much not happy
Oh
that
no,
this is
they're
how
very
it
much
turned
like,
out.
fucking Tommy, look what you made us
Right.
do.
And we
Like,
just wasted like 8 tablecloths. We're in the place of
yeah.
business and you fucking spilt blood here.
And
Like,
this is where he explains that this is a bigger fuck up because this was a made man. This was one
right.
of the top mafia guys of a different
Right.
crew. Made men don't get fucking touched. You touch a made man,
Especially
you're
not by a
fucking
different
done.
crew.
Yeah,
A different crew, like you're either starting a war or you're dead now yourself.
yeah. Oh, you're fucked. You're fucked. So Henry, of course, is like, fuck. How are we gonna hide this? Like, you just killed a fucking made man. Like, so he's very on edge now and annoyed with Jimmy and Tommy. But Jimmy and Tommy are just kind of like, fucker deserved it. They bury him out in the woods and they move. They're like, just don't fucking talk about it and we'll be fine.
We'll keep it moving. Yep.
Yeah. So then met Trunk Man, killed him. Oh, while they're on their way on their way to bury him, they stop at Tommy's mom's house to get something, and she's awake. So then they end up, this woman cooks them like a full course meal in the middle of the
Hmm.
fucking night. I'm like, wow, what a fucking mom. Because my ass would be like, the fuck you wake me up for? Like,
Yeah, I'm
what
not
are you
dealing with
doing
that.
here?
I'm
Yeah.
not dealing with that at all.
Oh,
Mm-mm.
absolutely not.
Mm-mm. You want something to
So
eat? You know how to work a microwave.
right.
Why are you here?
I was just
Period.
like, that poor mother. She's just like, how are you, baby? Just so happy to see her fucking son, spend time with him. She's
In the
showing
middle of the goddamn night.
she pulls a canvas out of her asshole. I've been painting. Like, I was like, where the fuck that canvas come from? Just boop. Like, and he's like, oh, good job, mom. Your dogs are looking different ways and stuff. And then they show like you hear the guy beating on the trunk and out in the front yard because they've just
Yeah.
left a body in the fucking car as they're eating dinner and shit. Um, so take the guy out, kill him. Um, Then we find out he was like, Saturdays are for the family, or Sundays are for the family and the wives, Fridays are for the girlfriends. I was like, damn,
Yeah,
I thought y'all had a
shit.
good marriage.
God
God
damn it,
bless its
Jimmy.
soul.
Or not Jimmy,
Well, all
Henry.
of them.
God damn it, Henry.
Yeah, it's Henry. It's all they all have their girlfriends, and of course it's something young and some 20-year-old just so happy to be there at the fancy club. And they're talking about Sammy Davis Jr., the
Right.
part of the Rat Pack. And
Yep.
the one girl, Tommy's girlfriend, is like, I can see, and she uses the N word, or I think she uses colored, but she's like, I can see what people see in him. And Tommy's like, what do
White
you
people,
see?
white women.
Because
She
no woman,
specifically says, she
yeah,
specifically says, I can see why white women would be
yeah,
attracted to
would
him,
look at
essentially.
him,
And
and he's like, look at
Tommy
who? Tommy's
flips
like,
his
look at
shit.
fucking who? Because no bitch I'm fucking is touching an N word. And she's like, well,
And
not
she,
me. She's
not
like, not
me,
me.
like just in
Because
general, like
you saw
not
her eyes widen, which I was like, this is amazing. This was great acting because the subtleties that these people played in their face and stuff, because her eyes immediately, as soon as she said it, she went, I fucked up. Like,
hmm
because Tommy's sitting right there. Fuck. Like, and she was just like, no, no, not me. Not me. That was like a conversation. I would never. And so it turned into like a really racist conversation.
hmm
And then, oh, it comes out something in dinner, or like a guy walks up talking about new construction, or oh no, it cuts to the next morning. They're at Polly's house, all the families, and Polly's like, hey, have you seen this guy? And he's like, who? He's like, don't fuck with me. And he's like, this incident? And he's like, no. uh I don't know his name. I'm gonna call him Billy. Billy's disappeared. Where is he? And he's like, no, I don't. We saw him for his party, but I haven't seen him. And so then he goes and he's like, shit, they're on to us. So then they have to move the body. And it's been like 6 weeks, I think he says.
Oh, and it's
And
bad.
oh, so he's
It's
throwing up
bad.
everywhere. Tommy and Jimmy are just joking on him for throwing up on the grave. And I was like, this is the craziest scene because once again, it's one of those scenes where they're just being guys. This is just a boys' night
Right, but they're digging up
over
a
a dead body.
6-week-old dead
Yeah,
body. Just
like,
fucking clowning on each other.
yeah,
Like,
like it's nothing. Like nothing important's happening here. We're just chilling together. Uh, so they move the body. Oh, then it jumps to the girlfriend's apartment. He just got her a fancy apartment, and I was like, you know what? In this situation, I'd rather be the girlfriend because it's literally just all benefit. You get the good sex, you get the fancy stuff, no kids tangling at your hips. You have no responsibility to this man other than to be home when he needs you to be home and go to the parties he needs you to go. I'd much rather be the girlfriend or Candy than the wife.
I couldn't
Like,
be the wife in that
for sure.
situation.
Yeah.
No, I would lose my fucking mind.
Yeah. Uh, and this is where the sexy look came in. Like his girlfriend said something to him, and he kind of like grabbed her by the shoulder and like real serious said something to her, and I was like,
Yeah. Oh shit.
ooh.
Hello.
Right? I was like, ooh.
I am so sorry for whatever I said, but also I'm gonna say that again.
You want to stay longer?
Right.
So then it cuts to they're at a card game, and there's this character Spider serving them all drinks. And Tommy is like, "What the fuck? You didn't bring me a drink." And he's like, I thought you said you didn't want one. And he's like, when did I fucking say that? And like, so he starts going off on him pretty much. And you're like, fucking, here comes unhinged Tommy. Shit. And the guy's name is Spider. Um, and so Tommy ends up shooting Spider, like in the
In
fucking
the
foot.
foot. Yeah, in the
Yeah.
foot.
And so everyone's like, what the fuck, man? And he's like, what? It's his fault, you know? And this is where you're like, see, everyone's getting tired of fucking Tommy because that was some unhinged shit over a drink, you know? So Spider gets taken to the hospital, and then he comes back and he has a giant like bandage on his foot now. And instead of apologizing, Tommy just starts joking with him. And
hmm
he's like, you know what? Fuck you, Tommy. And everyone was like, Spider
Oh
got
shit.
balls. Get it,
Yeah.
Spider. And Tommy goes, oh, ha, 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 ha. Pat right in the head. Like,
Right.
just shoots him point blank. And I'm like, dang, I really thought that was about to be a character. Never mind. Like, so everyone's like, the fuck, Tommy, stop killing people. Damn it, man. Like,
Right. Like it's like it's like Charlie that
yeah,
kills people.
we were having a good time, damn it. Uh so so then Karen finds out she's getting cheated on.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh shit. Karen didn't know. I thought maybe she knew because it was like a thing. Karen did not fucking know. And Karen was being that down bitch. She wasn't asking questions because she knew her place to not ask questions. But then she kind of was like, well, hold the fuck up. Now your story's not making sense. Where's the bitch? And she finds her apartment. And she's like, come down, you slut. It's a fairy
She's
man. And
like
she starts
yelling
pushing
down
everybody's
on the
buttons.
buttons.
And she's like, she's a slut. She's fucking married. Like,
She
I was
calls
like,
the super. She calls the super on the
I'm
phone to
like, you
tell
know,
him.
2B is fucking my husband. Like, got the kids
And
in
her
tow
kids are
too.
there. Her kids are like
Standing right
hanging on
there.
to her.
Oh my God. I was like, oh, Karen's not playing at all.
Ah!
So, so Karen also being now pissed at her husband. This is where you get the scene of her on top of him, gun to his face. So he opens his eyes to a gun right there, and she goes, fucking explain yourself. Who the fuck is she? How could you do this to me? He's like, Karen, I love you. Karen, I love you. I love you. I went. So she finally starts crying. She puts the gun down, where then he proceeds to beat the shit out of her. Puts her on the floor. Don't you ever fucking do that. Holding the gun to her head. How do you fucking like it? And runs off to girlfriend's house. And Karen's crying. I'm sorry. And I did feel bad for Karen in this moment because I was like, she just loves him so fucking much. I get it, man. I'm behind Karen on this.
Oh yeah, 100%. Karen
Yeah,
was in for most things in this movie. Karen's in the right.
yeah,
Karen was in the
absolutely.
right. Like I said, I would have lost my mind. I would have
Yeah,
lost my mind. Like
absolutely.
I would have done. I probably wouldn't have pulled a gun because I don't really like guns, but
Well,
it definitely would have been an all out brawl. Like okay, and then you start beating on me too. It's
yeah,
we're fisticuffs in the fucking bedroom right
yeah,
now. Like, don't play with me. I will pick up a lamp.
yeah.
Like, I don't
Oh yeah.
fucking
I think
care.
violence would definitely. That's probably the one time violence would ensue in my relationship that I could say for sure. Jared
Yep.
may get woken up, not with a gun, but maybe a bat to the knee, of like, wake up. And yeah,
Yeah,
it
I've done
probably
that
wouldn't be
before.
real pretty. We
I've
probably
done that
shouldn't say
before.
that.
No, it didn't turn into real violence, but I
This is
have
now
woken
evidence in my
I
case.
I have woken up in the middle of the night by throwing a cell phone at a body and being like, I've already got screenshots, so
Yeah,
why don't you open your phone for me again and you can let me know what's up on the screen right now.
yeah.
I have
So
definitely woken somebody up
explain
like
this.
that before. So I know I have the capacity in those situations that it's not the answer,
It's
but
not.
it's the answer you're gonna get.
I tell
So
you what, man. In
decide what
my
you want to do. Decide
in
what you
my
want to do.
life, and I know so many people are gonna be like, terrible fucking advice, but my advice to young women, when that first love crushes you, because it's gonna happen, fucking get the revenge. Because I tell you what, man, I took the high road. Okay, I took the
Fuck
high
that.
road. I didn't
Fuck the high
complain.
road.
I didn't
No.
question anything. I gave
Mm-mm.
him his stuff back.
Mm-mm.
Like, and we cut each other from each other's lives. And I tell you what, I can honestly put that on my regrets list. I wish I would have burned his house down. Like,
Kia
part of me
Scar.
kind of wishes I don't feel any type of closure.
Steal his
Like,
credit card. Steal his credit card number.
honestly, I wish I would have kept all his shit. A very nice gun
Set it
was
on
there in
fire.
my apartment. I should have been like, bitch, you come get it. Because I'm not fucking coming to your place. You know, like,
Yeah,
I should have called
absolutely.
him out on his shit when it was happening. But I was like, no, be a better person, Belinda.
No,
Take the
fuck that.
high road, Belinda. No,
I'm not the better
don't take the
person.
high road. Don't take
I'm
that.
not the
And
better
I will say,
person.
look,
Mm-mm.
man, don't get arrested.
Call
Don't
his mom.
right. Don't harm people, but you know, get the revenge.
Well,
Just
the
go be the
limitations.
crazy bitch.
Look,
Just do it. You'll feel
listen.
better.
the monetary limitations for small claims court differ state to state, but it's typically under $10,000.
Yeah.
If you can feasibly afford to be put on a payment plan by a judge somewhere for less than $10,000 and you don't mind end up having to pay for that while you go in front of the judge and say, "Yeah, I had a temporary moment of insanity because I was putting his dick in some other bitch."
Yeah.
If you don't mind doing that, then honestly, personal possessions are fair fucking game.
Yeah.
Fair fucking game. The PS5 is less than $1,000. I can fade that.
Smash that shit.
Payment plan,
Smash
30
it.
bucks a month for years. I don't
Yeah.
care. I
Yeah.
don't give a
I
shit.
should have
Pour that
stole
under
my
the
dog.
water.
I should have fucking stole my dog. I
Yes.
should have screamed in his fucking face. I wish I would have done that. Like, be unhinged.
Be unhinged.
Be
Be
unhinged.
crazy.
Don't
Go
be the better
crazy.
person. Like,
Get
nothing comes from it.
crazy.
Nothing
As
comes
long
from
as
it.
it's not
But
going to be a misdemeanor or a federal charge,
yeah,
you have full you almost have a responsibility to yourself to do that shit,
absolutely.
honestly. Don't
Absolutely.
play with
Because
me.
honestly, the only person I made comfortable through all that was him.
Right. And why
And
should
that's
that be
not fucking
the
worth
case?
it. I should have
That's
been
not fair.
unhinged. Yeah.
Become karma.
Yeah.
Don't wait for karma. Become karma.
Be the bitch. Be the bitch.
And
So,
then post the shit on every social media
oh
site
yeah.
and tag him by name.
Oh yeah. Just be crazy. Do it. Do it. It's so much better. So,
Life advice, be crazy.
so he's at his girlfriend's and Polly and Jimmy come to the door. And I was like, oh shit, you're in trouble when Polly's coming to call you out. So Polly's like, hey, get back home. Like, we're not
Yeah, we
judging, man.
know. Yeah,
We
we
got
know how it
girlfriends.
goes. We know
Yeah.
how it goes. But you've gone
Um,
too far. You
but
fucked
yeah,
shit up. Now she's making noise. She's coming down and she's talking to me. She's talking to people. She's spreading
yeah,
your shit everywhere. I can't fucking have that. So I understand what you're doing, and it was fun, but now the fun time
but
is
now get
over.
home. Yeah.
I'm gonna go talk to her and I'm gonna smooth things over and I'm gonna let her know that this
That
is
you go be
over
home.
and that you're coming home. That's what I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell her. And you're not gonna make me a liar.
Yeah.
So get your ass home.
Yeah. And he was like, dang. But I was like, when I was watching that scene, so yeah, part of it was like, dude, she's making waves and I don't fucking like waves. So get your shit together. But another
Right.
part of it was very much of these men were like, yes, we have girlfriends, we have our lives. That's your fucking wife. Get home and
Right.
respect that.
Right.
Handle your business. You are
We
not
have
a
a
man
schedule.
if
We
you're
have a
leaving your wife unhappy. So
right.
go make her happy. You know what I mean? And
Right.
I was like,
We
you
have a
know what?
schedule
Fucking
for a
respect.
reason. We have a
Yeah,
schedule for a reason.
exactly.
Majority of the time we're at home. So why are you fucking with the schedule?
Yeah,
It works. We figured out. We've got the formula and it works. What idiot are you to fuck with that?
yeah. So he said divorce is for animals, which I was like, you
Yeah.
know what? Divorce is for animals. Brilliant. But not killing, because that's what is so another this is another scene where Jimmy looks at him and goes, what are we, fucking animals? Divorce is for animals. And then immediately cuts to Jimmy killing somebody. So it's like that, like they're so out of touch with what they're doing and how like,
It's normalized for
oh
them.
yeah,
It's just
like
it's a
murder for
Tuesday.
them is
It's 11
nothing.
a.m. on a Tuesday.
Yeah. Um, so then something happens and they end up going to jail for 10 years.
Well, so what happened was somebody, whatever dude Jimmy killed, right? His sister was like a
Oh
typist or
yeah, they go down
something
to
for the
Florida.
FBI.
Yeah. That's what okay, so he's like, you gotta go to your wife. He's like, I'm gonna go talk to her. I'm sending you and Jimmy to go kill a man
Florida.
in Florida.
Right.
Take that week off to get your shit right, because when you come home, you're coming home to Karen and you're getting your shit back together. And he's like, okay, boss. So they go kill a man in Florida. But it turns out he had a sister who worked for the FBI as a typist, and she got real fucking loud. So they end up going down.
Yep.
Uh,
They get like
but
7 years or something. And
uh,
while they're in the courtroom and while this is all happening, Karen is there. She's like in the courtroom watching everything go down and like
yeah,
they look at each other and I'm just like, God damn. I
yeah,
can't even put me in a nut house. I couldn't deal with this shit.
no, I did. I'm too high maintenance. I have to be the one that the world's revolving around.
Right.
So I couldn't be in that relationship because that's like you being the big person, and I can't do that. So, you know,
Yeah,
like
like okay,
I'm the
you
diva in the relationship. Like,
I have to hold it down for how long?
right?
Like I have to
I'm not holding shit down.
by myself
Which I've already told Jared
for how
this.
long?
He was like, that's fucked up. I was like, I promise you, if you get, I will be faithful for 6 months. I can give you 6 months, depending on what you did and how dumb of you to get caught
I think
for
that
what
that's
you
where
did.
it sticks for me.
There's
How
a
fucking
lot of
stupid.
stipulations here. If I'm
Right.
sacrificing, it better be for fucking good reason. Like you were trying to
Right.
feed our family or something. Okay,
Right.
I can maybe give you 6 months. And then I'm fucking other people, but I won't divorce you. So, like, you have something to come home to. I'll be here. But I was not loyal. And I'm just telling you that
What
now.
is it? What
Like,
do they don't they have oh, it is. It's called a prison clause in the Sons of Anarchy. The show, the wives, when the men go down and they get locked up, they have a prison clause. So the wife is always like taken care of financially by the club and somewhat emotionally because she's still invited to everything. She's still invited to all of the family shit that the club is doing.
yeah,
But then they also, part of the prison clause is that she can go and she can get her rocks wherever, but she has to stay married. And then when they come out of prison,
yeah,
business as usual. So
yeah,
yeah, that's the prison clause.
yeah.
Like,
That's what
it's,
I need the
don't ask
prison clause.
questions.
Yeah,
Yeah, don't ask questions about what's happening, but we'll work it out when you like get home. It'll be fine.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So, he's gonna, and you get to see how prison was not prison for these people.
No.
Like, they were kept in a completely different section. They usually had fully furnished rooms.
Well,
The
they had like an
guards,
apartment. They had
oh
like an
yeah,
apartment
and
where
they
all
all
of
got
them
to like stay
stayed.
together. So they
Yeah.
were just having a vacation with the boys, really. They got all the fancy foods brought in for them. So they were able to cook for themselves. They had hot plates and shit. Like, so prison was not that hard for them. And he's talking about that, how like, yeah, it sucked to have to be there, but like we weren't in prison. Like we
Hmm.
had our own place. And then, but his wife was able to get him out in 4 years, which I was like,
Well,
fucking Karen
first,
coming through.
she goes and she visits him, and when
Oh
she's
yeah.
visiting him, she looks down because it's a manual logbook of people who've
Mm-hmm.
come in and the visitors. So as she's signing her name to go and visit him, while she's also smuggling fucking salami and shit in with her, while she's doing that, she looks up and she sees the girlfriend's name. So she gets in there and she flips her shit. She starts
Oh
yanking
yeah.
out fucking salami things and slamming them on the table and being like, "What the fuck is wrong with
Oh yeah.
you? What am I doing? I don't have any money. We don't have any income. I'm trying to take care of your fucking kids. I'm smuggling you shit in here. I'm doing all of this." And I see her name, and he's like, his argument is, I can't control who comes to see me or not.
Yeah.
I don't have any control. People sign in, they come. I don't. I'm not telling her to do anything. Which, first of all, that's a fucking lie.
Yeah.
But it's hilarious because as she's flipping out and as she's getting loud in the prison with all of these other people and families visiting their people,
Who are
I
literally
think it's
having
like the
sex next to them. Did
right.
you
I
see
think it's
that
like the
pan
warden. I
around?
know.
Like,
I was like, oh,
I was like,
no, thank
wow, at
you.
the busy table. Like,
No, thank you.
wow.
But like as she's yelling, I think it's like the warden or somebody who like steps out of his office and looks down at at Henry like, bro, she's like, I said you could do this, right? I
Yeah.
agreed to all of this, but now
It's
she's
too many
telling
witnesses.
everyone
Yeah.
in the whole fucking building that she's smuggling shit in for you. Like, come on,
Yeah.
man, come
And
on.
he also, so they also set it up. So we have to remember, okay, he goes to jail. While you're in jail, the family doesn't take care of you or your family. So
Because
that's
you're
where
not
she's
doing
coming from.
anything for
Yeah.
them.
That's where she's coming from of being, we're super broke and I'm holding it down for you. So making her even angrier is that
Right.
she's in the shittiest of positions and
Yeah,
you're
they had to
fucking
sell the
living your best life here.
house.
You're
They're
getting
having to
fucking
move,
salami. Yep, they lose their
and your
house and
girlfriend is
everything.
coming.
Yeah, but you still got that bitch on the book. And she was like, have her bring the salami, have her bring this. And then she throws cocaine on the table because he started selling drugs to supplement. Now,
Mhm.
but he's doing this behind Polly's back. So you're immediately
Mhm.
like, oh shit. So in this moment, he's having to be like, fucking shut your mouth. Because he's not worried about the cops. He's worried about fucking Polly finding out that he has a side business. So he's like, shut the fuck up. Okay. I'll get rid of her. We're fine. Stop it. And she
Right.
chills out by the end of it. Um, so then when he gets out, she got him out in 4 years. She's the one picking him up. They go back home and he's back in and he has another heist. And this one's going to be even bigger. And Jimmy has like a team of 6. And he introduced some of the guys and stuff. And he also has a new girlfriend who was actually the girlfriend of, well, a friend of his ex-girlfriend because she cuts the cocaine for him. So he's keeping this business going. But Paulie has pulled him to the side and said, "Hey, what you had to do in prison, I ignored because, you had to do your thing. We're not in prison, and I can't have that shit leading to me. Another guy just went down because one of his lackeys was fucking around. That ain't gonna be me. So put it the fuck away." And he's like, "Of course, of course." He does not put it the fuck away. So now he's in big shit. So we still have the murder looming over of the made man. We now are selling drugs behind Paulie's back. I'm like, dude, you're stacking your deck against yourself. It's not
I
going
have it
to end well.
organized.
Yeah,
I have it organized. Shut up,
he's
idiot.
getting greedy. So, but they have this heist. Jimmy's heading it. And it turns out to be the biggest heist in American history. And he's like, we made 5 mil off of this. Which you gotta think of, like 5 mil in the 70s, that was like a shit ton of money. Like, so they robbed the airport for that. Um, and they're having a party. Uh, oh, I said something about, oh, I thought they had another baby, but it wasn't another baby. But I'm not sure what I observed there. But, and the guy comes in with a brand new girlfriend, and he's like, look what I got, Jimmy, in his brand new pink Cadillac. And Jimmy's like, what the fuck did I say? What the fuck did I say? Didn't I say no big purchases? We just fucking pulled off a heist. Everybody's
That was
watching.
worth that was worth $2.8 billion today.
Yeah. I was like, and he's like, you bought what? And so dude's in trouble. You're like, oh, you're gonna die. You're going to die. So he kicks the dude out. Another guy comes in with mink on his woman. He's like, are you all fucking stupid? Is every single one of you fucking stupid? And so he like rips the coat off the girlfriend and pushes them outside. And the girlfriend's like, but I want my jacket. I was like, bitch, if you don't shut the fuck up, if you don't shut the fuck up, what are you doing? What is
No
happening?
no self-preservation skills to
None.
be had by anyone.
Absolutely none. She wanted to die that night. Uh, oof. Okay, so then I said a car is gonna get them pinched. Oh, the pink Cadillac. And then I said he's so jealous. Great. Who is jealous?
I don't know. I can't remember that high level of detail.
This is where I probably smoked a little too much and was just starting to be like laughing at dumb shit. And I don't remember what the
Taking a
dumb
note of
shit
it.
was. Yeah. He was jealous for something. I feel like Karen did something, and I was like, or this may have been a Tommy observation, but I don't
Oh
remember.
yeah, Tommy is a jealous asshole, so
Yeah,
that would make the most sense. But he did so much shit in this movie that at some point I was just like, "All
yeah.
right, man, all right."
So then it jumps to Wigman. Wigman is a part of the group, apparently. And he's the guy, he's like, I gave you the idea. I just want my cut. I want my cut. And he's coming to the party. And he was even asking for it like before the official heist even happened. He's like, hey, I want my cut. And Henry's having to constantly jump in between and be like, hey, stop bugging Jimmy. Like, you'll get your money. Don't worry
Like,
about
who are
it.
you talking to? Who
I was
who
honestly like,
are you talking to?
dude, are you stupid? This, wow. So then I was like, oh, he's about to die tonight because holy
Hmm.
shit. Uh, so Jimmy walks into a back room and he asked Henry something. So Henry was like, "Oh, we're gonna pinch him." He starts talking like the voiceover of like, not pinch him, but kill him.
Mhm.
And he starts talking about like how sometimes you gotta kill people, and you know in the moment of like the way they just said something to you of like, "Oh, you're about to die." And so last minute, Maury does something, and Jimmy goes, "All right," and he tells him, "Hey, never mind." And the guy's like, and Henry's like, "Oh, okay," and he's like, okay, so we're not gonna pinch him. He's like, I'm gonna give him a chance. And he leaves it alone. So I was like, holy shit, Jimmy actually didn't kill him. But then no, he did. He kills them. He kills everybody. He kills Pink Caddy. He kills the his name is Stax, and he was only in like 3 scenes, but he was this really tall, probably the only black person in the whole movie. He gets killed. um, so uh you hear the voice. Henry starts talking about in the voiceover how there was definitely enough money for everybody, but Jimmy got paranoid because Stax left the truck like at his girlfriend. He got drunk, left the truck at his girlfriend, so Staxton had to die. Because Stax had to die, that didn't send him into a paranoid, I'll just take all the money. So Caddy died. Everybody died. There was even one guy who was kind of always in the background, and I liked him because he
Mhm.
only spoke like Italian.
Mhm.
He ended up in the meat truck, and I was
Mhm.
like, dang, he killed literally everybody. He killed all his friends. Shit.
Mhm.
Uh, then there's a scene. Okay, so he kills everybody. And you find out, and then it jumps to Jimmy is super excited. They're all three of them are having lunch, and Tommy is being told he's being made uh, a made man. That he's made it up enough because he's pure Italian. And that's when they say Henry goes, me and Jimmy can never be made men because we're Irish. You have to be pure blood Italian to become a made man and move up in the mob. So he's going to become a made man. And Jimmy's very excited for Tommy because he sees it as like the closest he'll get to being a made
Mhm.
man, his best friend being the made man. So they're sitting at a restaurant waiting like to get the call that oh it's happened because I guess they can't go to the ceremony, and he's getting out of the truck, and you're like he has his collars. He's like, oh, how old were you when you became a made man? The guy's like, oh yeah, and then they walk into a basement, and Tommy goes fuck, and they shoot him right in the head, and so they killed Tommy, and you're like, oh, they found out, about Woods guy.
Mhm.
So Jimmy goes out to, he's like, it's been a while. I'm gonna call. He goes out to the payphone, and that's when they're like, he's gone, man. And he's like, I'm sorry, what? And he's like, he's gone. And so he gets pissed, and he's like hitting the phone. Henry comes outside, and this is where I was like, I don't think the phone booth was supposed to fall over. So De Niro's upset, obviously. His best friend just
Mhm.
died, and he's raging, and he kind of pushes the phone booth, and it falls over, but the camera kind of pans real quick, so you almost don't see it happen. And then the look on De Niro's face is very like, oh, like he's saying his lines, and you can even kind of see it on
Mhm.
Leota's face too, of
Mhm.
like they're saying these as like lines, and they're trying not to look at the telephone thing, but they are seeing it. So it made me feel like I don't think that was supposed to fall over. I think
No,
they
I
like,
don't think so. I
yeah,
think he hit it too hard and it was just an accident. It would have been funnier though if they would have reacted to it a little bit. Like
yeah,
if they wouldn't have ignored it completely, I think it would have made a better scene. Because if
yeah,
they were suddenly like, "Oh shit!" Like if they would have said something about it happening, it would have been better.
yeah. So then we're jumping to 1980, and he's in his car, and he's way more disheveled. And you're like, oh, he's a cokehead, just full on
Hmm.
dealing coke. And he's looking up, and he's watching a helicopter. And you're getting like, is he just paranoid, or are they fucking following him? Because he is kind of
Yeah,
up there. He is very connected. So it wouldn't
yeah.
be unreasonable.
He's making all these moves. He's going to all these different places, and the
Yep.
entire time he's looking up, and there's a fucking helicopter. So it does make you be like, "Oh, oh."
Yeah. And he is, and the whole narration is him talking about, I have so much fucking to do today. I gotta go to this guy, and I gotta go to that guy, and I gotta be here by this time, and then I gotta pick up my brother, and I gotta eat dinner, and so he's doing all that with this helicopter kind of showing up, and then he tells Karen about it, and she's like, oh shit. So Karen's also doing coke. But Karen fucking holding it down. She was like, okay,
Mhm.
we'll change our pattern. Let's go shopping. Let's stop at my mom's house. Like, so until the helicopter kind of disappears. Uh, oh, oh, okay. So he had been using the babysitter as like his mule pretty much.
Right.
Uh, and she was like, they're at the house. He's like, okay, we gotta get to the airport. And she's like, ugh, I need my lucky hat. So we need to go to my house. He's like, bitch, I don't have time for this. Get
Right.
your ass in the car. And she's like, I'm not going without my lucky hat. And he's like, son of a bitch. And I was like, she's fucking setting him up, man. She is setting him up.
Well, at the
Like,
time, didn't he call her before? He called her at the
yes,
house and he
while
was
he was
telling her
out.
to do something,
Yeah,
and he was like, "Don't make the call from the house. You have to go to the payphone and you have to make the call." And she was like, "I know. I'm not a fucking idiot." And then they hang up, and immediately what does she do?
he
She
calls from the
makes the call
house.
from the
Yep,
fucking landline.
yep. So
The fucking landline.
they get outside into the car and cops are everywhere and they
Yep,
take him in.
immediate.
And I was like,
Immediate.
fuck, he's going down because they got it all. They're like, oh, we know what you were doing with her. The cops are just laughing at his face at this point, and I was like, fuck, Paulie's coming for him because he's been dealing drugs and this is what he's going down for. Uh, so at this point, he's begging for forgiveness. Like he gets arraigned, gets out, goes to Paulie, and he's like, just fucking please don't kill me. Pretty much like I fucked
Right.
up. I know I fucked up. And so Paulie is gives him $3,000 and is like, I gotta turn my back on you. But it was pretty much so that was him being like, here's a little money because you are now fired and my back's turned on you, so you have no protection,
Nothing.
nothing. So and I said, okay, so he's trying to get this across to Karen. He's like, we gotta get the fuck out of here, dude. Like we're going to die. Like,
Right.
and she's like, no, we just need to go to Jimmy. I'm not moving. I'm not leaving. And he's like, so she goes to Jimmy and Jimmy's giving her money and stuff. And she's like at his warehouse or something. He's like, I got some nice dresses for you. Even if you don't want them, you could sell them. They're Prada and stuff. And she's like, oh, okay. He's like, they're right out back. They're right. Just keep going down the street. And I was like, Karen, don't go down the street. Don't go down the street, Karen. Don't
This
do
is
it.
like the one time in the movie where she is totally wrong.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
totally wrong.
Oh, absolutely. She, I was like, don't do it. Now, luckily for Karen, she looked inside where Jimmy was telling her to go, and she was like, I'm in a hurry, I gotta go. And she like jumps in her car and she fucking books it. And I was like, okay, Karen, you almost did the ultimate fuck up, but you got out of there. So she goes immediately home to Henry and she's like crying. And he's like, what happened? She's like, I got scared. I got scared because she didn't want to tell him like Jimmy's trying to fucking kill me because I think she knew like Henry would then like freak the
Go
fuck out.
nuts. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. So next thing you know, he's at the FBI and he's rolling on all of them to get into witness
Everything.
protection. And this was another part where I was like, Karen, get fucking serious right now. Because Karen's like, so you telling me I can't talk to my mom anymore? Are you telling me I can't uh like see my family at all if they're sick, if they're dying? And he's like, pretty much. But like, what choice do you have? You're going to die if you don't go in witness protection.
Yeah,
Like
and then at the
he's
same
gonna go
time,
to jail and he's gonna
right,
die, and then you're gonna fucking die, and your kids are gonna die. So
everybody's gonna die.
yeah,
And at the
so
same time, Henry is being like, okay, well, I'm not going anywhere that it's super hot. So I'm
you
not
just
doing the
put me
beach.
somewhere. Yeah, he's like, I don't
Like I'm
like the
not,
cold. I don't do well in the cold.
yeah. Like
He's still
and it's
trying to be
like,
a
bro,
tough guy, and you're like, dude,
this is not
get
your
serious.
decision to make.
Yeah. So they go into witness protection. I was just like, holy shit, he actually stood up in court and pointed at Polly and pointed at Jimmy, gets
They
them
didn't have
sent.
I don't know why I expected like some anonymous like the Futurama thing where they got like the thing in front. I don't know why, but as soon as I saw him like physically in court and then physically being like, let the record show that he pointed out defendant whatever, I was like, like I let out the biggest gasp because I was like, ah, I didn't. it just didn't occur to me that he would have to literally look them
Yeah.
in the face.
Look this father figure in the face. Look this man who is taking you under his wing.
I didn't even think of it like that. I just thought of the pure terror of like having to
Well,
sit up
that,
there and be
but
like,
I was
ah,
also looking at the,
ah.
like, I guess from Polly's point of view, this was your child type. This was your protege. And you have to look at this man, go, yeah, that's him. Take him down.
Well, he
Like,
should have just helped him.
fuck. So then he's in witness protection. He's talking about how he's bored and stuff. And then the credits come up of
they're
like,
they're in like a suburban, like
yeah,
typical like cookie cutter thing. He's in like a bathrobe. It looks so. It doesn't look
yeah.
right at all. It's just.
So then it comes up that Polly and Jimmy go to jail. They end up dying in jail. And then he says Henry's still in, that Henry and Karen do get divorced. He's still in witness protection. And that's it. Screen goes black. Everyone claps. And great movie. I was in there. Just every scene, like no part of this movie made me feel bored in any way. Like 10 out of 10. Good job, guys. Good job.
I'm not gonna lie. I was a little bored, but it was more just because, again, this is like the blueprint,
Mm,
right, for these kind of movies, and I've seen so many of them already that it's at points I was like, all right, yeah, I know,
yeah,
like I get it, I know what's gonna happen. Like it wasn't like anything new. It wasn't anything like the plot twists weren't really plot twists to me. Like the
yeah,
drama happening wasn't really anything that I couldn't like assume was gonna happen anyway. So like that kind of it didn't ruin it for me, but it definitely made me like less interested because this was the blueprint. I think if I would have saw this before I saw so many fucking gangster and mob movies, that it would have hit way different.
yeah,
But since I already know what's gonna happen in the plot in the blueprint, I was kind of like, all right, yeah, I I see why you guys like it,
yeah. I
but it's not
I'll
on my
say
top 10 list.
the only, no, no, no. It does. I think we have to make. I get very excited about a lot of things, so you got to be pretty special to end up in a top 10 list. This does not.
Hmm.
Maybe if I made a top 10 list of
Gangster
my man
movies?
movies, yeah, or gangster movies, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely, this would go in there.
yeah.
But even undergoing gangster movies, and honestly, I don't even know if it falls under a gangster movie, but fucking what was it? You know, the two Irish brothers, the Catholics.
Were you talking about the Craze? Are you
No,
talking about Robert Cray and you're
no,
not talking about the one with Tom Hardy?
mm-mm.
Which one are you talking about?
They're Irish. Oh my God, it's not Reservoir Dogs. What is it? It's Saint something.
You're talking about Boondock Saints.
Yes,
Yeah,
Boondock
that's a top
Saints.
10 movie for me. That's a top
Yes,
Norman Reedus
yes.
at his fucking
Oh my
best, man.
God.
I watch that movie at least once a year.
Yeah,
At least once a year.
that one
I'm so glad.
is.
I'm
Yeah,
so glad that I was too poor to afford a lot of tattoos because I would have had the fucking tattoos. Not on my hands, but it would have been on my body.
yeah,
Like that's one
yeah.
of my tops. Yeah, that is a top 10
That's a
movie for
top
me.
10
I
movie.
and like it's kind of a gangster movie,
That's what
but
I was
it's
saying.
like
I was like, I don't know
gangster
if it
light.
technically falls under because they're not gangsters. They're more vigilante, but they're kind
Yeah,
of
like
gangster.
Rocco.
They're,
Rocco is
yeah. He's
the
gangster
lowest of the
adjacent.
low.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lowest rung on the
Yeah.
ladder, but like they fight
I feel like it
gangsters.
kind of follows the same formula though, you know?
Yeah, it has the same bones
Yeah.
of like as far as what we know about like gangsters in general and gangster movies. It has the
Yeah.
same. Now I'm gonna have to go back and watch
You
a
know
bunch of
what?
old
I think
Normus
I'd
Reedus
also have to
movies.
say Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, I do really like Pulp Fiction. Honestly, Pulp Fiction would not be in my top 10 movies. I'm okay with getting
No,
crucified with that,
I thought we
but
were
it
only
is.
doing gangster movies. Though Reservoir
Yeah, no,
Dogs is
no, no.
probably top 10 of
Yeah,
all time
uh,
movies. Pulp
yeah,
Fiction is one gangster movie. That's probably my top gangster movie, Pulp Fiction. It's really good.
yeah. I could,
But I
yeah,
don't know
I
if
could
it's
say
one of
that.
my top
Yeah,
10 movies.
I feel
Yeah.
like movies like that, pulp, like Pulp Fiction type. movies from that era, especially like Quentin Tarantino movies. Like it's to me, they are so like encapsulated, like they are so like cult classic
Yeah.
that they don't even register on my list of favorite movies because it's already assumed that they are going to
Yeah.
be somewhere at the top. Like they're their own little, like the cult movies are like their own little things. And like I wouldn't say that Rocky Horror Picture Show is one of my all-time favorite movies because of the same deal. It's like that little cult bubble that those
Yeah.
types of movies are in for me that put them just on a different list. Like if you did the Venn diagram of favorite movies of all time and cult classic movies that I really like, they would be more overlapping than not.
Oh yeah.
But I still think about them as two totally separate things. Like I wouldn't even like yeah, Pulp Fiction is 100% a gangster movie, but in my head it's not even a gangster movie. It's just fucking Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you can't put it into a box. You can't
Absolutely.
label it like that because it's you
Yeah.
can't do it. Like Rocky Horror is not a musical. It's
Yeah.
just Rocky Horror. Like
Yeah.
Reservoir Dogs is also not a gangster movie. It's Reservoir Dogs. Like they
Yeah.
have their own categories. They are
Yeah.
the outlier.
I could totally see that. Yeah, absolutely. So, Goodfellas, the true story.
Mhm.
Oh, excuse me. So, this, of course, was directed by Martin Scorsese, but he adapted it from the script of Nicholas Pileggi's 1985 nonfiction book, Wise Guys. And
Hmm.
Nicholas was the man who interviewed Henry to get the story of the Great Heist. Uh, so that's how Scorsese found out about Henry Hill. Um, and it was the, I'm going to mispronounce this too, the Luchas crime family that he was a part of.
Mhm.
And then his friends were James Burke and Thomas de Simone. And Simone was the Tommy character. Um, so we'll talk about the big heist, what made this group super
Mhm.
famous.
Mhm.
Was in 1978, Hills was associated with the robbery at the JFK airport um, for 5.9 million is what they thought they were getting. It came from a tip from a man who did owe them debts that they were a little iffy on at first, but they heard it was going to be huge, so they were like, we got to take it. So they then did the very classic. It was 6 men in a van, ski mask, grab a worker, hold a gun to her head, empty out the storage unit, get the fuck out of there. Very classic heist. And they did. They accomplished that. Ditched the van and actually ended up finding like 8 mil in the locker, which translates to today's money is like huge, plus a shit ton of jewelry that they were able to get out. So altogether, they stole like $23 million. Like it was the biggest heist on United States soil at the time ever, and it was international news. Like people were fucking in. And then what kept it in the news was the fact that the guys were being found dead really soon after. So then it was kind of like this guy was connected to the heist. He's dead now. This guy's connected to the house. He's fucking dead now. Like, so yes, the movie did keep that in. Uh, and it was a man named Stax who left the van at the girlfriend's place that set Burke off, the Jimmy character, uh, which made him paranoid and greedy. And then the deaths all happened. The Cadillac death happened. Meat truck death happened. Like, that's how he killed the people. So then why is this not working? Oh, here we go.
Yeah, that's 130 billion dollars in today.
Yeah. So
Or I'm
Pesci's
sorry,
character,
130. Yeah, 130 billion. Yeah.
it was a shit ton. So Pesci's character, Tommy, was uh this Thomas D. Simone, and he wasn't a little guy. He was a big guy. He was 6'2". He was born in the 1950s, actually in like Connecticut, to a very connected mafia family. He had two brothers, and before he could come of age, that brother ended up becoming a snitch, causing him to have a bad reputation just as a family, which caused him to be the hothead, constantly having to feel like he had to prove himself because of his brother's fuck up. Um, so that's when he would start working. His sister started sleeping with Jimmy as one of his mistresses, so that's how he met Jimmy, and they started working together for one of the families, eventually making it into the Luchas crew and the Varios. Um, it was said Henry put in one of his interviews that Tommy was so fucking crazy that when he met him at 17 and he got his first murder was them just walking down the street and him going, "Watch what I can do," and shooting a guy in the face and keep walking. Just a fucking random. That was his first kill. Yeah. Uh, just to show off. So, uh, so the main man whole thing kind of happened. He did kill that man. Like, guy got out of jail, kind of insulted him. He invites him to a bar. He fucking kills him. Uh, and then that man goes missing, and everyone plays dumb about it. So then in 1979, Thomas would actually go missing himself. Uh, it was suspected that the Gambino's family came for him because of the murder, but also suspected that they just handed him over because he attempted to rape Karen, who not only was Henry's wife, but was sleeping with the Polly of the story. His name was
Damn,
Vario.
girl.
Yeah, she was his mistress. So I was like, but that's speculation. Officially, Thomas just disappeared in 1979. So then we have Henry. Henry was born in Brooklyn to an Irish father and a Sicilian mother. He would drop out of school at 14 to start working with the family. They've really kind of got his life pretty much right. He would leave the mob for a bit to join the army, where he would be discharged for starting a brawl and stealing a sheriff's car, going straight home to be part of the mafia. In 1967, he would have a heist go down, and that he claimed in his biography. Well, the heist like bumped him up in ranks, like in the movie. He claimed in his biography that while he never killed anybody, he was not a hitman and didn't kill people. He would witness many murders, well over 20, and would help bury 10 people. Um, he would go to jail for extortion, never a violent crime, and then drugs is why he got pinched and had to flip on the gang. But he would actually take down 50 members before he'd be sent off, and then he could not shut the fuck up about being in witness protection, so he got kicked out in 88 or 87. Yeah, 87 he got kicked out because he couldn't shut the fuck up, and then Karen left him in 89, and then pretty soon after that the movie came out, so he kind of just coasted on that fame for the rest of his life, dying in 2015, which nobody showed up for, which is kind of sad. But because he turned on the mob and that was his lifelong friends, they were not his friends anymore. Uh, so kind of fucked up. And then you have Jimmy. Jimmy was born in like 1940, and he would be sent to an orphanage at 2, where he would be abused by many different families, sexually and physically. Um, at 13 years, he would join the mob. He was known to delight in his murders, and he would end up writing his own memoir. So if you want to hear from a man who delights in murder, he wrote a memoir in 2003 called The Goodfellas, A Guide to New York. Um, and he would run in multiple crews as a hitman. Being that he was of Irish descent, he couldn't move up in the crews. Uh, and then he also had his own kind of like little mini army because he was just really respected. And then he had, okay, so I found this one story and I was like, I don't know how true this is. Okay, I only found it in one place, but if this was even a little bit true, fucking Jimmy was off his fucking rocker. It is said that for his fiance, she was complaining that her ex was bugging her. So on their wedding day, the ex was found dead in a car near the wedding venue. I was like, he gifted his
Just popped
fiance
out.
a dead man
He
for
just
their
he just
wedding.
he just pop out between the
Yeah,
the ceremony and the reception. Like, I gotta go eat your present real quick, and just boop.
just
Oh,
got your dead body, babe.
you don't gotta worry about him anymore, I
Yeah.
guess.
And then he would end up going to prison, of course, and he would die in 1996 in prison. Uh, so yeah, I mean, the movie actually kept it pretty good. I will say, I think there is a lot more room though, because I do feel like this movie, the heist was not the focus. It's more like just something that happened in the movie. And
Mhm.
I feel like if they wanted to, they could take this same story, but just go from the heist itself. Like a good heist movie could be
Mhm.
made from the story.
Mhm.
Um, not that this movie wasn't good, but I think that's pretty cool that there's just like it was the biggest heist ever, and it was that fucking easy for them to do it too.
Yeah, that's
Like,
crazy. I
and
love
they
heists. That's my
right?
favorite part of true crime is fucking
A good
heists
heist. Yeah.
and shit. Like,
I don't mind a good heist, especially when nobody gets hurt. You know, like I mean the rich it's like that one where like somebody stole the paintings from this like and he's never been found. It's kind of more recently they're pretty sure they knew who did it, but it's one of the biggest heist mysteries to ever happen.
I know
And
exactly what you're talking about.
yeah. And I just feel like
Exactly, yeah.
I'm like I don't feel bad because you just stole from really rich people. So uh
Yeah,
like
and
I
that's my
don't care.
favorite. That's my
Nobody got
favorite.
killed, so
Yeah, no, that's my absolute favorite kind of
yeah.
heist story is like
Robin
you're
Hood
stealing
heist.
for fucking
Oh yeah.
rich people
Oh yeah.
and nobody actually gets hurt. That's my
Yeah.
favorite. Yeah, we did an episode on this French heist, and it was these dudes, and they literally tunneled down underneath like the street into the vaults,
Oh shit.
and like they like stayed there for a whole weekend. It was a bank weekend, so like Friday and Monday, I think, the bank was closed completely. So like they did all this research to the alarms and everything. They tunneled into the actual vault, and when the police got in there, they found literally like hot plates and shit where they had been just like, and
Just
wine
living.
bottles
Huh,
everywhere. They just lived in the vault for the weekend, and they got all the money out. It's
that's
one
crazy.
of my favorite stories of all time. It is so fucking crazy. Those are my favorite stories. It's like, Doug, how do you even begin to plan shit
Oh,
like that? Like, how do you even
and you got to
start?
be so confident because they got to be
You gotta
able
be
just to
on it,
walk. Like a great
on
heist
it.
is like Ocean's 11, and I'm gonna find out a way to squeeze Ocean's 11 into our criteria. There are so many movies that I'm like, I think I could kind of pull off a based on the true story. Just gonna like when I said Fern Gully, because you know the rainforest exists, deforestation does happen. They
Jesus
have a
Christ.
point.
I think I told you no. I think that's one of the
You
only times
did.
I've
You
told
were
you
like,
no. I'm like,
no.
don't. That's too. You can't. You can't. You want to talk about the fucking fairies being real? Get out.
Look, man. Hey, there are people who still claim to see fairies. Okay, even on
I'm not saying that their
I
existence is
love the
totally
show.
disproven.
No,
I'm not
look.
saying that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying
Yeah.
I believe in a lot of supernatural shit. So yeah, it might be possible. What I'm saying is that there's no way for you to find irrefutable proof to bring it to me and convince me that 100% fairies have saved portions of the rainforest.
I don't have to prove that. I just have to say they did not portray this properly in the movie. Fairies were never a part of the situation.
I'm logging off. Goodbye. You're blocked for a week.
All right, people.
Muted.
That's our show. We'll see you next week. Night night.